around the changes, amendments to the standing rules of the Senate. Now, the Senate president had argued that they had the powers backed by the Constitution to determine their own rules. And what it looks like is a, in quotes, political masterstroke by certain principal officers in the Senate to ensure that they are able to maintain or sustain their seats and push out opposition. But this is a challenge with a lot of rules, policies, laws being made currently, including the electoral amendment law, where it seems like it is meant to favor the people who are pushing the rules or pushing the law. And there's a fundamental issue in that regard, because they're not thinking long-term or sustainably. What are the new rules? They're saying that if you must, they are tightening the eligibility ahead of 2027 elections, that the key qualifications under the new rule means that for you to aspire to be the Senate president or other principal offices in the Senate, you must have had 2 consecutive terms minimum in the Senate. So you must have served 2 consecutive terms. You must be a 10th assembly member, because if you're not a member of the Senate just before the next, appointment in 2027, you're not eligible. The ranking still occurs. So ranking from Senate president, deputy Senate president, and the likes. Now, the challenge with this is that it would exclude hopefuls, current governors who are hoping to come into the Senate in 2027 if they are able to win the elections in their respective constituencies, and then bars them from seeking principal offices in the Senate. And this is where the real issue is. We can have conversations around, the Senate being a retirement home for certain politicians, but you cannot take away experience that some of them bring. The other thing is that they had to win the elections in the first place to even enter.
What is happening in the Senate? Like you said rightly, Aya, it's a case of self-preservation. Because do not forget, Senator Yari, Abdulaziz Yari, former governor of Zamfara, being a first-time senator, took Senator Gospel Akpabio to task in that elections. In fact, his mobilization was superb. And you know what I mean when I say mobilization. I don't need to say anymore. And it was very neck and neck. It was close. I think it was about 63 to 40-something votes. Yari could have nicked it, despite the fact that the whole architecture of the party was behind Akpabio. But you could still get 40-something senators that still voted for Yari, which was outstanding. Then a couple of the senators kept on saying, how can someone that's not ranking that's just coming? Because also, if Yari had won that election, it would have been interesting. Correct me if I'm wrong, that would have been the time one of the first-timers just got into the Senate and nicked it like that. So, since then, they've tried as much as possible to be able to amend the law. Now they've been able to do some sort of ratification of it. But people are now saying that it's also going to block a couple of other people. People like Gospel Akpabio wants to still stay on to be able to serve another time as Senate president. But I'm sure he's going to have very strong competition in the likes of Akpabio, Bamidele and the likes. And they are trying to block other people that might come. So people like, if Hope Uzodinma gets elected, for instance, in fact, there are 10 governors that are not coming back. And, which is not supposed to be, but we've turned governorship into a graveyard, Senate into a graveyard for former governors, retirement home. And if those ones come in, they will also be coming with some heavy mobilization capacity to be able to run the Senate race. Because as with every election in this country, election for Senate president is not Chirekambia. You have to be able to mobilize very well. And if you mobilize, you see the results. So they are also looking at that. That these people that are just finishing their term as governors, they are coming in with war chests. And they can match our war chests. That's going to be problematic. Oshiomhole, yes, he's rebuffed. There was a little bit back and forth, akin to a Portuguese parliament of some sort, wranglings here and there. But in the end, everything's about interest. But I think one thing that they discussed that was paramount to me yesterday is the waning of Nigerian influence in the West African sub-region. And we can't deceive ourselves. And it's got even worse. And why has that become the case? Because of some decisions that our president made. Some decisions, yes, when you look at it, debatable, Benin Republic intervention. But some decisions like the invasion of Niger that it took the Senate to stop the president from. The fact that we've not been able to stamp our authority. President Tinubu, as he got in, was also chief of ECOWAS. How was he able to stamp his authority? The fact that Nigeria is not getting the pride of place. And you know why all of this is happening is it feeds back into your domestic policy. You can't be respected externally if internally things are not good with you. They also did well. I think they confirmed the Tigbe.
Yeah,
Uneasy lies the hairs that wear the crown. But the conversation that they are having is you're going to have problems with generator cabal and everything. Yes, you have a big cabal lobby for generator, importers and the likes, or makers. But I think the paramount thing is how he can solve the problem on ground with the
offers. As for the Senate of the Federal Republic yesterday, what we witnessed yesterday was the politics of self-preservation, the politics of elite competition, and a big irony. The big irony is that Senator Akpabio himself got to that position of Senate President relying on the old rule. And now, the subtext of it that some analysts have pointed out, that having heard that some persons, serving governors are going to come into that Senate and who are power brokers in their own right, that they may benefit from the extant rule the same way that he benefited from it. So to limit the field, and that's why I talked about elite competition. Now, he using his powers as a man who interprets the rules, says no, the rules will be changed. And that rule will push out Senator Oshiomhole, because Order 5, which is the contentious point there, says that you have to have been in the Senate consecutively for you to qualify for consideration as a principal leader in the 11th Senate. Governor Oshiomhole, Senator Oshiomhole would just have spent one term. It means he will not be qualified. So he was fighting for his own interest too, in that regard. And then Akpabio had to throw the rule book at him and say, well, I interpret the rules. If you are not careful, I will send you out of the chamber. So all of that conversation is not about us. It's not about we, the long-suffering people of Nigeria. It is about their own interest, who gets the position. If you are a principal leader, you can be deputy Senate president, you are even number 3 with a lot of privileges. You can be Senate leader, you can be minority whip, you can be deputy minority whip. These are very, as they say in Nigerian language,